What is up, Internet? Every peoples, it's your good pal Polly here today with a peep show for a game that is in no way recent. This peep show, if this is a series that by tradition is about games that have only recently just came out or have only been out for a very short amount of time, this episode is about 15 years late. And it's not actually specifically for the game that we're looking at on the screen right now. It's actually for a mod for this game that came out about 5 years ago that I literally only just found out about on February 12th, 2021, while I was kind of giving this game a bit of the old looky-loo again. This is one of those hidden gems from back in the day that I like a lot. It is a hacking-based, sort of roguelike, story-driven, open-worldy kind of just... It's an interesting thing. It's got a lot going on. And I thought what we would do here is we would take a look at what the game was originally before we dived into UplinkOS, which is an incredible piece of work. So we're going to look briefly at the original version of the game to kind of give you an idea of where we're coming from, since this game was released in 2006, and it's not had a lot of quality of life changes made to it since it released. Should also mention that this is a game by Introversion Software, or I think it's Introversion Software. You might know them from Prison Architect, but I mostly know them from games like Darwinia, Uplink, of course, and DEF CON. And I just picked up a Scanner Somber, which I'm going to be playing soon. So let's get into kind of the nitty gritty of what we're looking at first with this original game, though. So I'm going to log in. I've already created an account prior to this. We are at the sort of tutorial portion of the game. There's going to be a lot to look at here, and I'm not going to go over a whole bunch of it. I'm just kind of going to take you through a general idea of what this game is. So this is kind of like our computer interface. We can do a lot of things. These are a list of addresses that we can dial into. If we go over to the world map, we can sort of hop around and make our connection more secure. We're not going to get too deep into that right now. We'll get into that a little bit later. For now, what we want to do is to do a very simple hack. We're going to look at what we got here. We're going to do the uplink test mission. We need to gain access to the login test machine by breaking the outer security layer, access the file server, and download the target file uplink test data. Remove any traces of your hack. Return the data to us at the address then they've given you there, which you don't really have to worry about too much. So what we want to do is we want to initiate a hack on the uplink test server. So we're going to dial in to Internic, which I'm not going to go too far into it, but you always want to dial into Internic first, and I'll kind of go over why in a bit. And then just start bouncing. Like right now, it's early game, you don't have to worry too much. We've only got 5 servers here. Usually the idea is to log into Internic and give yourself a ton of servers to bounce from, but we're not going to worry about all that right now. It's not a big deal. We're just doing the uplink test mission. So, we've created ourselves a bounce route to get to where we're going to the test machine. So, we're going to connect. We're dialing in. So you usually get this kind of about us page when you log into a new server for the first time. Not going to worry too much about it. We are going to start the test. So the first thing we need to do is we need to make sure we're not being traced. So for security purposes, we have a trace tracker. We're going to turn that on, and that's going to let us know if there are any traces. And if you get caught, you basically get fucked. This is a roguelike. You do get permanent game overs if you botch some real big jobs or real intense ones. It's all in covering your tracks, though. And it's all in knowing when to pull out when that little trace gauge is a little too high, because that's an active trace, and if they catch you there, you're boned. Passive traces, which I'm not really going to go over too much, they can happen sort of after you've performed a big one, but you can sort of delete the forensic evidence there. As you can tell, we've already got the admin password here. It's Rosebud, obvious reference. But we're going to go ahead and show how you would do this normally. So the first thing we want to do is we are greeted with an authorization request. We wouldn't under normal circumstances have this information, so we're going to pop open our password breaker, and we're going to go up here to our CPU, and we're going to just crank that up, and then we're going to let this thing do its magic, which we already know the password. It's not that big of a deal. Boom. So we are in, and now you can see that the trace, we are now currently being traced. So now we need to access the file server. We need to bring up the file utilities. We need to get the file copier, and we want the uplink test data. So we're downloading that. And while we're doing that, I'm going to bring up our memory banks so that I can drag this file over here immediately once we're done. And then boom, close that out. Disconnect from the server. Now, we need to get rid of the traces of our hack. So what we want to do is we want to jump to our first point, which is, I always make it internic because you always just have unguarded access to internic. Once you hack it the first time, you're in and you're golden, and you never have to get admin privileges again, and they never trace you for some reason. So we're going to go ahead and break the password. And we're in. So we go to access logs, and kind of the long and short of it is you always want to remove password authentications because those show that you were in the system. And you want to delete anything that says that you bounced through here or you bounced from internic to another address. So we want to kill these two as well. I'm using just the version 1 log deleter. There are better log deleters that will reshuffle the log entirely so that these log deleteds never happened. Because what can happen later in the game is when you start getting passively traced, other hackers can have log undeleters, and they can come through and forensically kind of pick these out, and you're good. So we want to leave the login connection established, because when we log out of this machine, there's going to be an instance of us logging out of the machine. And when they come back and look at the forensics, they were like, well, there's a log out, but there's no login. There's something fishy going on here. And you can sort of just passively, that shit can kind of passively catch up with you if you're not careful in covering your tracks. Most of the time, though, if you just make internic your first hop, and you come back here and you clear out the logs just as I've showed you how to do it, and like, just get the level 4 log deleter, which will reshuffle the logs to look like nothing was ever amiss. So long as you delete your hops and your administration logins to internic, you're good. So we're going to go ahead, disconnect. All the traces are gone that we were there. It can't be traced back to us. We will reply. Send. I didn't appear to have attached the file, so I've also got to attach the file because I'm a dummy. So let's attach uplink test data, send. There we go. Delete this, and congratulations, we got no money for that because obviously it was a test job. So congratulations, Agent Polly, you have reached the next uplink rating. Your rating is now beginner. We're gaming now. We're gaming now. But as you can see, a lot of this stuff, like a lot of the interface hasn't aged well. Like, you actually have to go in. Like you can't just I can't come over here and right click my data and get rid of it. I can't press delete on it to do anything. I have to actually open my file deleter, click this, and I have to manually defrag my system myself. Like, you have to do this kind of just weird copy. Like, I need to move my file copier. I want to copy it and put it up here. A file deleter. I want to take this and put it up here. You can buy a defragger later, but that obviously takes up space on your system. And in the early going, you don't have a lot of memory to play around with, and hardware upgrades can be a bit prohibitively expensive. But I think that that's like a good kind of idea of what Uplink is. It gets much more complicated, believe me. This is a game that the stakes continue to get upped. It keeps raising the skill ceiling of what you need to do during hacks. The hacks get more dangerous. You're obviously putting yourself way more at risk to do lots of crazier things, like modifying criminal records and the like. So, yeah, like, this game is just... It's a fantastic game, and... it's frequently on sale on Steam. So if you're interested in what you see so far, I want you to stick around, because now we're gonna get to the cool shit. I'm gonna go ahead and close this out because I don't need to do anything with it anymore. And we are going to load up UplinkOS. This is an HD version of this game that was put together by a team of mod makers. You can find it at ModDB. I'll even put it in the down thingy-madooter under the video there. Whatever you call it. They don't call that the down bar or anything, do they? Like, that's... I swear I've heard the term down bar somewhere. Anyway, as you can tell, this just immediately has a more sleek look to it. I mean, just even this little opening menu over here. We've actually got some good screen settings and stuff that we can do. I'm playing in a window at the moment. Yeah, like all of this stuff already just immediately looks fantastic. So we're going to go ahead and log in with my totally secure password of ABCD1234, which is literally my password for everything. And when we get in, you're going to just notice an immediate difference. Welcome back to your gateway. First of all, holy shit, it's nice to have a font that is easily readable. This is a list of all of our current jump spots that I have saved and a favorite for like Uplink internal services systems and all that fun stuff. But like, as you can see, like all this stuff running across the top is just, it's all displayed in a hell of a nicer manner. It's a very nice GUI on top of what the game already is. And to my knowledge, like, the only things that's really changed are just a lot of quality of life improvements that it feels like they were balanced around, and they don't really upset the natural flow of the game yet, with as far as I've played. But see, you can jump in here, you can look at your status and see all of these kind of fun things here. I got money. I got like 17,800 monies, and I also got a burp right there. Little bit of indigestion from the meatloaf. I made a meatloaf. Meatloaf is one of those weird things where it's just like, it's so on the nose about what it is. It's just literally a loaf of meat. So, I guess I'll show off some more things. Like, here's the file manager. I can move menus around a lot easier. Like, all of this stuff is just presented so much nicer. Here I've got apps. I don't have any audio logs because I'm not far enough in the game to be pulling voice data to manipulate to get logins. Yeah, there's some fun shit with that. And I don't need a file deleter or a file copier anymore. I can just right-click data and delete it. This is all based on the speed of my CPU in-game as well, so I'm very early in the game, so the reason it takes a while to delete a file is obviously because we're very early. But you come over here and you've got this nice sleek apps menu where it's like, there's my password breaker, here's my trace tracker. We're gonna go ahead and launch that. good idea to always just have that guy open. Put him over there. We've got an IP probe that tells me what kind of security a system might have before I decide to jump into it. Make sure that I've got what I need. We've got log deleter 4.0, which does what I mentioned. It reshuffles the logs. So I guess with that, and you can take notes as well. Like you can pull stuff from your emails and the like and put them in your notes, and you can like it lets you have quick access to things like that are usually that were a bit more of a pain in the ass to deal with the original game's interface. So I've got a mission down here that we're going to take on. This is the qualifications required for a wealthy professional. You need to gain access to the International Academic Database. I know the IP already because I've already done a few hacks on it. The individual currently requires a registered Uplink agent qualification, adding to her record, Heyun Babayev. So we want to go ahead and initiate said hack. So what I'm going to do is bring up the new menu where you create your hops. Another great thing that you can do is when you create bounce points, when you create a bounce route, you can just save it and then boom, load it for later. And if the machine that you want to bounce to is already in your chain, you can double click it and it'll just make it the last hop. So you can just reroute your entire shit on the fly. So we need to go to the International Academic Database and connect. So this is a government-owned computer system. All attempts of illegal access will be severely punished to the full extent of the law. Just fine. I have an admin password down here. I don't know if these carry over between sessions or not. But before I initiate it, I want to go ahead and bring this back up just so I have it. Because you do have to remember this information. We want to go ahead and get in and make this hack work. So let's see if this works. Nope, this ID has been invalidated, which means I've hacked into this too many times and I no longer have admin access, so I need to bring out the password breaker again. So we're going to go ahead and bring this up and click here. Or no, we just click this. And we're going to go ahead and give it our full attention of the CPU. Let it do its thing. We are currently being actively traced now. It's at 7%. But we should be fine getting in here to do this. So we're going to search records. And we are going to look for Heyun. You got a great smile plus 99. So all we have to do is commit that and disconnect. We are done. We just need to get out of here. So we just need to hop back into Internic to cover our tracks. This is not Internic at all. Disconnect. Is this Internic? No, this one. This is Internic. So we want to go in, hop into Internic admin, close all this out, and get into the access logs. And we don't even have to bring up a log deleter to do this. We can just right click. We can just come over here, right click, and remove our password login and the bounces that we did to continue in the chain. And that is it. We just wait for these to delete and the hack is done. They can't really trace this back to us. They have They could look at this and say, hey, that looks kind of weird. But it's nothing solid enough to get you in trouble. And this is why internet should always be your first hop. As you can see, we used a level 4 log deleter to make sure that this is nice and clean. Like, it is suspiciously clean. But that won't get you caught. So, with that, the hack is finished. So all we need to do is disconnect from everything. Hop down here. Just reply and say, hey, we got you, dog. Here you go. Fantastic. Look, congratulations. We got our uplink rating up. We're intermediate now. But mission complete. We got them big fat monies. And baby girl got a great smile. Plus 99. So I guess that pretty much about sums it up with regards to Uplink, but more specifically Uplink UI or UplinkOS. This is a fantastic modernization of a game that maybe a bit of a product of its time, which is a weird thing to say sometimes, but because it's still good, it's just, you know, the little things I can see pushing people away. But this takes that older game and it makes it infinitely more playable, infinitely more approachable, and it's just a damn good game top to bottom. There's a lot to play around with here, with the hacking getting as intense as it does, and the storyline branching in the ways that it can. So I guess that's gonna wrap it up here. So if you like what you saw, go ahead and check out Uplink, and down in the information box I'll put a link to the ModDB page for Uplink UI, and if you grab it, hope you enjoy, or if you just like the video, thanks for watching.